Okay, it's a bit of a different format this evening as I am joined by Darren and Donny as I reflect on what was a hugely disappointing performance against Spelthorne Sports. Gents, what are your views?
I think last week you sort of summed it up for us, Gal, nicely with your leading. So, yeah, you know what? I personally think, and I think Donny would agree, that no issue with Spelthorne today. I thought they deserved their win today, but we weren't at the races.
Yeah, I second that. Spelthorne today, for me, they played the way they played. That's what this league's about, and I think today we forgot about it a little bit. So fair play to Spelthorne today.
Do you think at any stage over the sort of the previous week complacency might have set in? We seem very sluggish and lacklustre from the start.
I think we bang the drum, don't we, about not being complacent, but you know you're dealing with human beings, and it's very difficult to control that emotion. And I think the one thing that the only thing that makes sense to us is that if it isn't complacency, then it doesn't make any. We can't factor our players can have a performance which is a 6, 7 out of 10 last week. I don't think we were great last week, but we was effective and more clinical. And then there was some 4s and 5s in there for me today.
I think probably being a bit generous with your 4s and 5s. I mean, there were a lot of very poor performances.
Yeah. You
can pretty much go from back to front, really. Did anybody on our side stand out at all as a decent performance?
Ollie worked hard, done the same things he normally does, I suppose. Other than that, there's not really much I can think of. Football's infectious at the end of the day, and because we started so bad, it's very hard to get out of the gears if you start. And we, for half hour, we was poor. That's where we lost the game in that first half hour.
Yeah.
I think just coming on the back of that as well, Ollie got got the club man of the match today. And I think he's probably right, because I mean, of all of the players, I thought there was only a very small number that could even be in contention. But even for me, as the fact that Ollie got that today, I think he scared the daylights out of him for a while. He's almost won us a penalty. He got the centre half booked, terrified the left back, and then we let him off the hook.
Yeah. I think both the left and right back wasn't very good today, if I'm honest. In terms of what we saw from the dugout, they were very beatable, and we didn't do it enough. It's just, again, like I said, we didn't go through the gears. We just couldn't get out of second gear.
Yeah, that's fair enough. When you admittedly, as you say, we didn't play well, but we still probably put more balls into the area than we have done over the last few weeks. We had a fair percentage of shots. Unfortunately, the keeper made 3 or 4 really good saves. The centre half, the 4 who obviously Ollie got booked early on, that was probably his only blip. I mean, he didn't miss a ball. Every header he won, every challenge he won. Sometimes you just come up against players who are in that good form, and there's not a huge amount you can say about it. And you're clearly not going to. Thank you. My point being that sometimes players just have those games.
I will just say, I sort of agree with you in regards to if we looked at it on a statistical basis, you'd go, we've had X amount of shots, right? And that's not, that's you can't argue with that. Talk about the shot now. Let's talk about the shots on target, the shots that made the keeper make a save. They were throwing bodies in the way. I think someone said, at 4-1 at the death. There's 4 players trying to, throwing themselves in front of our lads to try and block a shot. That's why they won it today. That's why they won it, pure and simple. All kudos to them, all credit to them. In terms of what they've achieved on the pitch today. But we got to be brighter than that. I think of all the balls that went in the box today, and there was a few dropped and a few headers got knocked down into the 6-yard box, 8 yards out. I thought we didn't commit enough people in there. At the death, we could see what was happening. We were putting good balls in. Players was kind of holding out on the edge of the area. We was going in 1s rather than 2s, 3s, 4s. So as well as they did we contribute and make it easier for them? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. see it a little bit different in terms of you make your own luck in this league. Like, we know what this league's about. we've known it for the last 3 seasons. And when a team, like their first goal, for instance, it was from adrenaline. It wasn't, that wasn't worked in a training ground. That wasn't anything they had planned. That was literally heart and desire, where they've caught our right winger out with a ball, played it across, and he's hit it. He's just hit it straight away, sort of thing. But it was the heart and determination that started from their right-sided player to make it, to win the ball and then play the ball across. And I think those little things that you don't really see in a game, where you only see them from like the side sort of thing, they're the things that start. They're the catalyst for teams to go on and win.
Yeah, as you say, they were at it from the get-go today. They wanted it more. And if you go out there with a slightly, not half-hearted, but slightly off the boil against a side like that, it's very difficult to turn it around. Very difficult to get yourself back up to their level. It's possibly a lesson that we have to make sure that we start every game.
Yeah, I think it pains me a little bit, because that was almost us of 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The way that they attacked the game, the way they approached the game, we've made quite a good career out of that, growing up through the ranks and learning our trade. Now we're probably a bit more of a nicer footballing team to watch. But actually, do you know what? We also need to be able to mix it and have the heart and the desire, because that's what this league demands. I think we keep saying, we can harp on about it. We've got players that could and should be playing higher, but actually they're not. They're here, and if they're not, they've got to earn that right to get up there, and that starts with rolling your sleeves up and doing the rough stuff. And I just thought today, they came down. They were at it, as you say, from the get go, and yeah, it was as if we rolled the clock back to when every team came down here, when we first came down here, and every team came down here, and it was their cup final. Great place to play, smashing facilities, lovely big changing rooms. You spoil, home or away, and it just gives everyone the incentive to want to come here and play. And today it felt like that game again today.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and added on to that, we're high up in the league. We're there to be shut down, so that's an extra incentive on top of all the stuff that Darren just said. So yeah, I totally agree.
Okay. Obviously, it's a big chance missed to put some points into Chertsey, but they've still got plenty of games to play. We've still got a fair few to go. The league's going to go all the way down to the wire. We move on now to CB Hounslow. Another tough game. We know what they're about. Possibly going to be similar to today. Do you envisage many changes, or is it a case of look and see what's happening over the next week and see how we go from there?
I think it's early to say, but no one would have too much complaints. Too many complaints if we made wholesale changes next week, because you're right. We know exactly what we get from CB Hounslow, and it will be a similar work ethic, a similar desire. And the first thing we need to be doing is earning the right and making sure that we're matching that. Otherwise, our footballing doesn't ever get to shine through. Okay,
that's fair enough. Donny, anything from you before we end the interview?
Yeah, every week's a hard game, so every week's a CB Hounslow, to be honest. So I think today is a humbling. We've been humbled, but we'll learn.
Cool. Onwards and upwards, gentlemen. Thank you very much.